Thurman knows me too. He knows me very well. My name is Robert Burns. I have the video blog Sound Off Louisiana, which basically gives anyone an opportunity to quote sound off about any governmental operation that they have concerns about. Hence, former Sergeant Galmi is reaching out to me, and we did about an hour and 15-minute interview. Largely it was him talking. Anybody's welcome to go see it. He condensed very well what's on there. But the reason I'm addressing you actually has nothing to do with former Sergeant Galmi's, and I did not intend to address you. I was here at 9:30, and I even indicated to Miss Margaret that I'm strictly here for him. However, I have been asked by 2 retired police troopers, state police troopers, that since I am here, they want this brought up, and so I'm going to do so because I have tremendous admiration and respect for both of them. About 4 months ago, both of these troopers, retired troopers, both of these troopers were removed from a couple of funds that are contributed to from their retirement, one of which is to provide partial funeral coverage when a spouse passes away. There was an email sent, and I want to first of all commend Miss Margaret. I made several public records requests in this regard. She fulfilled every one of them. She fulfilled them very timely. I very much appreciate that because you have no idea how hard I have to struggle many times to get public records. I did not have to do that with her, and I want to thank her publicly for that fact. The email was sent. It was sent by the Louisiana State Troopers Association requesting, I'm not going to say insisting, that they be removed. And they were removed. And the only way this got uncovered was a fluke. One of the 2 troopers, and I'm not using their names, but many of you may know who they are, because we're talking about 50-year contributions made by these individuals. They're charter members of the LSTA. But obviously they had a difference of opinion some time back, and I guess this may be fallout from it. They were both removed. Neither one of them had a very favorable reaction. Probably if you put yourself in that position, you too would not have a very favorable reaction, especially knowing that their spouses would have found this out upon their passing and there being no benefit. So both of them contacted this office to get to the bottom of what happened. And like I said, Ms. Margaret has provided all of the public records. One of the 2 individuals was extremely irate and composed a fairly lengthy letter that was sent to some prominent individuals. Depending on what they want me to do, because I'm taking my guidance from them, I may or may not publish the letter. But needless to say, he was irate. So they both have concerns about how something like this happened. With at a minimum, I'm assuming y'all don't know about it. With one possible exception, but this hit them hard, both of them. I think I've fairly well covered it. I've tried not to infringe upon your time, but both of them, especially one, feel very strongly that the procedures need to be looked at about how something like this could happen by way of just a mere email request, because the spouse of one of them was probably just as angry as he was. And she did not want to get blindsided with at what would obviously be the worst time imaginable. You just lost your spouse. And now you find out that contributions that you had been making into this fund for 50 years and thought were going on, and that's how it got uncovered. There was a slight change in the deposit amount from the retirement, and he had no idea why. So I may not have 100% of all the facts straight, but I have relayed them. I'm sure that individual would be here to address you himself. Unfortunately, I'm not going to go into why he's not able to do that. But I think I have adequately relayed their concerns. I've tried to do so professionally and calmly. But I do want to emphasize it was pretty hot and intense when they found this out, as I think you can imagine. So thank you.
And I assume that you corresponded with Margaret about the particular two troopers, retired troopers?
I did, and like I said, she's not held back anything.
Okay.
She didn't try to make an excuse, she didn't drag it out, she just said, here's what you requested. And I want to again thank her for that, because that just doesn't happen with a lot of agencies, and I'm gonna be blunt about it. I've let my sentiments be known about state police and their unwillingness to provide me with what clearly ought to be public record.
Let me make something clear though. Those two funds that you're referring to, number one,
Yes, sir.
that problem has been rectified.
Correct.
Both of those members are still in those funds.
They got placed back in.
They did. And that has been rectified. As
It
far as
has.
I'm aware, that both
It
parties.
has, and I'm sorry, I should have mentioned.
Satisfied with
Okay,
that.
good.
I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that. I appreciate you
But the
alerting
flip
me.
side of that is that everybody's clearing on the record, those funds are managed by the Louisiana State Troopers Association. They are not managed by the agency. They are not managed by the retirement board. Only thing the retirement board handles is the payroll deduction portion of it. So if they do get if the board does get a request from the association, it's like a request from any other payroll deduction. They have to comply with it. It's not the board's responsibility, the retirement board's responsibility to make the decision on whether or not that payroll deduction is it was a mistake, and the fact of, as you said, as a fluke, it was identified that the membership had been revoked, and it was under the understanding of the board of the association that if you weren't a member of the association, you couldn't belong to these two funds. Doing some history, which I personally did on their behalf, went back and interviewed the prior presidents and people that were in charge of the board at the time that these funds were transferred from the agency to the responsibility of the association. Those members were already in the funds. So in fact, we determined at that point they should be grandfathered. That their membership doesn't matter because they were already in the funds when the funds were turned over from the agency to the association. So they were grandfathered. They are still members of the fund, even though they are not members of the association. So as far as I know, this problem has been rectified.
It has, and I apologize, I should have pointed that out, and I had no intention to even address it.
I just want to be clear that it's not the retirement system's responsibility to verify membership in different funds. They only handle the payroll deduction. They get requests from insurance companies, from associations, for anybody that they want a payroll deduction from, and that was the request that they honored.
I understand, and
They don't have the ability to verify.
well, and while I don't want to speak for them because neither of them are here, I think had the LSTA approached them directly and said, look, we're going to have to remove you because you're not a member, well, I know there would have been, it would have just involved the LSTA and them at that point. Unfortunately, it was an email communication to this board for this to be done. They were very upset about it, but you are correct, especially when the individual composed that letter that I have, thanks to Ms. Margaret, and I appreciate it. It was remedied, and I'm going to defer to them, but everything you just said, I will make sure they have seen before I publish anything, and I may not publish anything. I'm going to leave that up to them, because it's been some time, and I think, well, at least with one of the two, I think that the temperature in the room has cooled. The other one, I don't think it's ever going to cool.
I understand.
But thank y'all. I wish they could have been, or I wish one could have been here because I believe he could have articulated this better than I did. Because I'm not a trooper, I don't understand the intricacies of the fund, just as you just pointed out. I did the best I could. If you're not happy, you're not getting your money back. So, all right, thank y'all.
Thank you, Ronnie.